Hey YouTubers, it's Steve again, coming from Rescape, my channel on YouTube that seeks to aid and benefit people by helping them be more informed about their fundamental perception of reality and how that differs from person to person, and how having the opportunity to alter that can help increase their quality of life and then change the world in large numbers of people. Today I'm going to be doing a video on what I would call overextending. If you go back in my videos and watch, I have a whole section of videos, and here's Kitty. This is my sister's cat I talked about last week. Her name's Kitty, and this is what she did to me. That's one band-aid. I took the other one off, got a big chunk of my skin. She was bullying my other two cats, and I scruffed her, but her back leg decided to attack me for a little bit before I really scruffed her, and then she knew who was boss. But she's a bully cat. Holy flipping cow. Like, my cats are cowering in my bedroom. Like, she seems really nice, but she's not. Anyway, okay, so overextending. Well, there's an example. My kitty was underneath the bed harassing Zaxby. Now, I couldn't get to Kitty, but I was right close to her, but I knew she was hostile because I touched her a little bit and she started hissing at me. But I didn't know what was going to happen because she might get Zaxby, my other cat, and I didn't know if they were going to start fire or not. And it was under the bed, so I couldn't like get the broom out, which is what me and Jessica had planned to begin with, just hit him with brooms. So, out of love for Zaxby, I reached out all the way underneath the bed to where I had no defense except my hand right beside Kitty and scruffed her. And I was hoping the scruff would be enough to paralyze her. But by the time I pulled her out, she had just mauled my hand. It was pretty, or my thumb. It was pretty bad. But I didn't have to get stitches. But the overextension there, overextension being a type of tension which breaks wholeness. If you want to watch my video on wholeness or any of the videos I talk about wholeness, and then the structural alignment videos I talked about different how perception based on truth is a structural alignment, perception and false perception is a tension. And overextending is based off false perception. So the false perception with Kitty was that danger was imminent, that I didn't have enough time, so I felt rushed, which I shouldn't have felt rushed. You should never feel rushed. You may have to move quickly, but you shouldn't feel rushed. Being rushed is attention. The other thing, I could have gone to Zaxby and gotten Zaxby out of the way, but because I was rushed, I didn't think about that because I knew Zaxby wouldn't have attacked me, and either one would have worked. But Kitty was right in front of me, and so I had that tension of like that fixation on Kitty, like I have to stop Kitty. And so it was the fixation was the tension, so I literally overextended my hand underneath the bed and got it chopped. So, but the idea of overextending in any sphere is basically there's something you want, and you can almost have it in a right way or an ethical way, but if you do something just a little bit, that you shouldn't do, like a little bit unethical or a little bit, you're expending a little bit too much resources like money, you're maybe a little bit too expensive, or just a little bit of something, and then it doesn't feel right, but you really want it, and so you get it, and so now you have that thing or event or whatever you want to call it. But the problem is the positioning that you find yourself in after the overextension is a lesser position. So, for example, if you spend a little bit too much money, well, now that's money you might need to spend on utility bills or rent. Or in my situation with Kitty, when I scruffed her, I basically, if she was close to my body, I could have controlled her better. So she was just a little bit too far out of my reach. So, and I put myself in my positioning when I grabbed her was not as good as it could have been. Another, like, let's say you lie, like if you lie and you get something you want, but you had to lie, well, now your positioning is that person thinks of something that you said is true, and for as long as it plays out, you've got to maintain that false deception. So you're liars have to deal with this. You have to have a good memory if you're a liar. You just keep lying to people, and because you keep putting yourself in these worse and worse positions, and eventually something's going to come back on you. So in fighting, you throw a punch and you maintain your structural alignment. If you come out of alignment, then somewhere on your body, at least one place on your body, there's a place that if they punch you now, you will take significantly more damage because you stretched out your ligament skeletal muscle system, or however you want to look at it. So this applies to a lot of different levels, but what you can do in your life is to understand that, like, don't try to be to some place exactly on time. Like, try to get there a little bit early, and then you have a little bit of leeway time if you need to do something like stop to get gas. Well, you decide to get somewhere 5 minutes early, so now you can use that extra 5 minutes to do something else. So you're not in a rush that way. There's just a certain kind of peace that's not there when you start overextending, and so when you're able to recognize that and just have your whole life that way, there's always these little buffer rooms on all sides. So if something jars you, well, you've got some wiggle room this way or that way. You've got your money saved up, or something bad might happen to you, but you knew you did the right thing, so you have peace of mind that way. I could apply a lot of different levels. Hopefully, if you know what I'm talking about, you can think of situations in your life, mentally, physical, mental, spiritual, where this would apply. The key here, as far as from a fundamental perception of reality, is that when you desire something to the extent that you're now overreaching, you're fixating on that. And by fixating, it is part of your fundamental perception of reality that there's not something better. So when you focus on one thing to the extent where you're overextending, what you're implying is that all the other options that you don't know all the other possibilities, but they're not as good as that one thing. And how can that be true? Like, if you maintain equilibrium and you don't overextend, like the potential outcomes from that are almost always going to be better than the immediate gratification of overextending to get something. So there's too many other things. You have one thing, or you have the entire universe. There's going to be something else. So yeah, there's one. So like, let's say you're dating a girl and she's really hot, but she's mean to you, and she's kind of like psychologically damaging you, but she's really hot. So now you're overextending psychologically, and the fundamental perception reality is there's not a better girl out there for you. It's like, oh well, I'll never get a girl as hot as she is, so I might as well kick her. Her name's actually Little Kitty, but we just call her, Jessica started calling her Kitty. Anyway, so there's all these different spheres of influence, like anything. When you're in a conversation and you're talking with somebody and you want to impress them, but now you've made yourself out to be something you're not. So you're not being your true, genuine self. So now when you're around that person from there on out, you're going to have to be that person that you stuck out with. Otherwise, to that person, they're going to think, oh, he's having an off day. When really that's just you. It's like, and it could have been okay. Like, the off day, Steve, could have been an okay thing. Not saying this ever happened to me, but now that you make people think there's a certain level that you're at and you're not, you just got to be content where you're at. So be content where you're at, being another way of not extending, just being confident in yourself. Anyway, so it goes all sorts of different places, but it's attention. It's attention from the misperception that there's not something better, and then since there's not something better, we have to have that one thing, and so we cling to it, and then we overextend to get to it because we really want it, and we sacrifice other things that shouldn't be sacrificed. And it seems good for the time when you get it, everything seems good, but then the positioning that you put yourself in by getting that thing, by overextending, then sets yourself up for poor things down the road. So that's overextension, and this is Steve's Rescape. I don't know what week it is. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, please post in the comments. I'll be happy to elaborate further. And you guys have a good week. Okay, bye.